Hi guys, it's Cameron from the Mighty Blues. Welcome back today to another live stream. Welcome back to the game preview for Everton's FA Cup 4th round fixture tomorrow at the Den against Millwall. Hopefully you are all having a fantastic day. Thank you very much for all the support on the recent videos, especially on Wednesday's stream. Yeah, Wednesday's stream done really well. Obviously we spoke about Marco Silva, we spoke about whether I believe he still should be the Everton manager and how I believe we can improve and why we shouldn't just keep chopping and changing managers. So thank you for all the support on that one. Obviously today we're going to be talking about tomorrow's game. Everton take the trip to Millwall in the FA Cup. Millwall, you know, a really strong, aggressive, passionate team, so there's absolutely no space to hide. There's no room to hide tomorrow for Everton. Every single one of them players that steps on that pitch needs to have a fantastic game of football, and the bare minimum that we should expect as Evertonians and that we should expect as fans is that they show their heart and they show their passion, because to be honest, you know, Millwall are a team that mightn't have the best quality in the world, they mightn't have the most talented players, but they've got passion and they've got heart, and them players will 100% give everything they have for that football club and give everything they have tomorrow. So it's important that we do the same. Now, I just want to apologise, we have gone live a little bit early. I did tweet out that the stream will be about 6:15. It is only about 10 to 6. I just had everything sorted, so I thought, you know what, why not go a little bit early? We were late last week, so I thought, why not go early this week? I'm just going to tweet the stream out so everybody on Twitter knows that we are live, just in case people are expecting us to be, you know, going live at 6:30. So I'll tweet it out now to make sure that people know. If you're watching this as a video afterwards and you missed the stream because I tweeted out that it was going to be early and it was late, sorry, at 6:30, and it wasn't, then I do apologise for that. But anyway, let's get straight into this game preview. I suppose there's only one place to start really, and that is the predicted starting 11. Now, Marco Silva had this pre-game press conference yesterday. He was speaking about the game, he was speaking about transfers, he spoke about a lot. Actually, we'll cover it in today's video, but more specifically about tomorrow's game, he basically said, listen, every cup game from now on, every FA Cup game this season is a cup final for us. We need to win. We know the ambitions of our fans. We know they want to go all the way, and we do too. He was asked about certain players, whether Leighton Baines would feature, whether James McCarthy would feature. He said both players are fit. I'm ready to play if I make that decision, but I'm going to put out the best side I can to get the win on Saturday. And for me, just firstly, just talk about that for a second. I think that's very refreshing. It's very refreshing to hear that Marco Silva, you know, is saying that we're going to take this competition as seriously as we can. You know, we're going to see every game as a cup final, and we're going to put the best team out to win every single game. I think it's important that, you know, we understand that, yes, it's probably expected for him to say that, and he mightn't have much of a choice, you know, to say, listen, we're going to take this competition seriously, obviously because of how things ended in the Carabao Cup early on in the season and how the form is going in the league. You know, it's important that we focus on the FA Cup, but I think it's really refreshing to actually hear Marco Silva come out and say, listen, we are going to focus on this competition and our aim is to win this competition. So whatever side I put out against Millwall, whether it's a side that we see every week in the Premier League, whether there's a couple of new additions, whoever plays is good enough to win that game of football, and that's the most important thing for me. And I think, you know, he was asked about Jordan Pickford as well. You know, he was asked the question, basically he was asked directly, is Jordan Pickford a definite starter? And he said, you'll have to wait until Saturday. For me, he is, and I think he will definitely start tomorrow. I don't think there's any sort of questions about that, but I understand why Marco Silva's, you know, trying to keep it on the down low, because it's important that nothing gets leaked to the media, nothing gets leaked to the press about his team selection, about his team news and stuff like that, because the players will see that, you know, that conference, and they will I've seen what's going on Twitter at the minute, especially with all the transfer rumours as well. So it's important that Marco Silva keeps the things that need to be private, and anything that he can give us, you know, he gives us. And he done that yesterday by saying, you know, we're going to take this game seriously. And like I said, did he really have a choice? For me, he didn't. We need to take this game seriously. This could be our biggest game of the season so far, and it really could, because it's a game against a team that we're not going to be able to hide against. We're not going to be able to shy away, and we're not going to be able to go there and think, you know what, we're just going to do our own little thing and we'll get past these because these aren't good enough. Yes, you know, there's a massive mural at Finch Farm that the players will see every single day, and it's a very well known saying, and I wanted to put it as the title of this team actually, but I ran out of space, and it's hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. Now that is displayed at Finch Farm. That is all over, you know, the world, all over the internet. Them players will be looking up at that sign every single day, seeing that, and that is going to epitomise our game tomorrow, because that saying, that phrase in itself, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard, will be the be all and end all tomorrow. Because yes, we will have more talent, yes, we will have more quality in our squad than Millwall will, yes, we will probably be, you know, the better side in the game, But if we don't work hard and if we don't put the passion in and if we don't show the fight, I don't think we'll win that game, because Millwall will come out and they will give us as good as they can, and they'll give us as good as we get. And if they manage to come out, show a little bit of passion, show a little bit of fight, get us on the back foot and nick a goal in the first 5 or 10 minutes, then, you know, I think we'll probably struggle and we'll sort of shy away. And if we shy away against the team that are constantly pressing and constantly showing that passion and that grit and that fight to win this game of football, then, you know, it will only go one way, and that'll see us exiting the FA Cup tomorrow. I think it's massively important that the players don't hide. We've hit too much in the last couple of weeks, and I'll come out and I'll say it openly. You know, I'm a massive fan of Marco Silva, and I think he should stay until at least, you know, for a couple of seasons, give him at least a few more transfer windows to try and sort this out. But there's no disagreeing, I don't think, that the players have been hiding in the last couple of weeks, and they've been sort of not showing the passion, not showing the fight. And that, as an Evertonian, and not just as an Evertonian, as a football fan, you know, as a, you know, a human being, the bare minimum you should expect is to give your 100% and put your all into whatever you're doing. These football players, these players for Everton, you like your Sigurdssons, your Walcotts, your Richarlisons, Idrissa Gays, these players are getting paid hundreds of thousands of pounds a week. The stats for our pay list, our wages list, a couple of the players were released today, like Sir Morgan Schneiderlin, 150 grand a week. Sandro Ramirez, who hasn't scored a goal, by the way, since he scored against Seville in a pre-season friendly a couple of seasons ago, last season, sorry. He hasn't scored a goal, and he's been at 2 other sides, £120,000 a week. These players are on ridiculous amounts of money. The bare minimum they should do and show is to turn up and put their everything into that 90 minutes on a Saturday or a Sunday. I want these players to be walking off the pitch after 90 minutes with aches and with pains and, you know, feeling tired. Not injured, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to sit here and say I want them injured, but I want them to come off having put in a top shift. I don't want to see his players walking off barely making it, you know, with a sweat on the face and not even having a dirty kit and just thinking, oh, easy piece of work. That the bare minimum we should expect is hard work and passion and a little bit of heart to pull us through these tough games. Because if we'd have had that little bit of passion, that little bit of grit, that little bit of heart, then, you know, I think we'd have beaten Southampton, to be honest with you. I think we'd have beaten the likes of Leicester, we'd have beaten the likes of Watford, because that's what we needed. We showed that passion and we showed that heart against Bournemouth, and it dragged us through that game. If we wouldn't have showed it in that game, that could have gone another way as well. And the one thing is for certain is we're not going to be able to get away with not showing it tomorrow. And I think that's massively important, is that we understand that as fans, these players need to go out and they need to give their everything. And if they don't, then there's an underlying issue, whether it's Marco Silva's fault, whether it's the players' fault, whether it's somebody else's fault. If they don't go out and give their absolutely everything tomorrow, then there's the issue. There is an issue as to say, you know, what's going on here? Why aren't these players acting like they want to play for Everton Football Club? Why are we seeing smiles off the pitch? Why are we seeing constant tweets from Everton Football Club of a Friday of 4 pictures of all the lads laughing and jumping all over each other and having a good laugh, and videos of them back behind the scenes, you know, smiling and enjoying their own company, which is lovely and fair enough and fantastic. Yeah, brilliant, nice little like on a Friday night while I'm having my pint. Oh, look at Bernard there on the back of Yerry Mina having a laugh. Fantastic. But then when they're going out on a Saturday or a Sunday and they're looking like they don't want to talk to each other, they're looking like they've never played together, they're looking like they're being forced into a system, then that's the worry for me. And like I said, we're not going to be able to hide tomorrow. We need to go out, and the bare minimum expectation for me is to show a bit of heart and show a bit of passion and show a bit of fight. And I think if we do that, then the natural quality that we have in this squad will drag us through that game and will win us that game. If we don't do that, then we're in a very dangerous situation, and we're in a situation that could see us exiting the FA Cup to a team that just want it more. You always hear that saying in football, don't you? Oh, they wanted it more. I don't want to hear that tomorrow at all. When I'm doing my instant match reaction tomorrow, I want to say, you know what, the boys dug deep today. Yeah, it wasn't ideally I want to say we were absolutely fantastic and we beat them 10-0, but the bare minimum I want to say is, yes, it wasn't a fantastic performance, we weren't great, but we dug deep and we managed to get the win because we showed our quality. I don't want to be sitting here saying we shied away again and we've been beaten by a team that are in the bottom 3 of the Championship looking like they're going to be relegated, because that's unacceptable for me. Andrew says, come you Blue Boys, 2-0 win, Calvert-Lewin, Richarlison to score. Yeah, hopefully. I've got them both in the predicted starting 11. We'll talk about that in just a second. But yes, hopefully. Ed Carew says, I don't want to see Richarlison in the starting 11. He doesn't seem to have the quality we need. Fair enough point. He definitely hasn't been on his ball in the last couple of games. I do think he will start for me. I think he offers us a lot of pace and a lot of agency going forward, but I definitely understand where you're coming from. He hasn't been fantastic in the last couple of weeks, and there's a reason why I put him on the left and not up front, and we'll talk about that. And there's a reason why why I think his form in the last couple of weeks has been due to the fact that he has been isolated up front and he's not been able to hold the ball up like he should be doing. And Jamie says Walcott doesn't deserve to play for us. I think barely sweats, man. Exactly. And for me, listen, I love every single Everton player. I love every player that puts the Everton shirt on. I really, really do. And I'll sit there and I'll back every single Everton player until the day that they leave, even if they're in poor form. And, you know, I will back them, same as I'll do any manager, until it gets to a point where you physically can't anymore. I will back them. But for me, there's no excuse to walk off the pitch without, you know, looking like you've done anything. And Walcott may be a good example for you. For me, I think the last couple of weeks, and I don't want to string him out on his own, and I don't want to say, you know, he's an embarrassment or whatever, because I love this player that I'm going to mention now, and I think he's a fantastic player. And for the first 3 or 4 months of this season, I thought he's been absolutely quality, but in the last couple of weeks, he just hasn't looked interested, and that's Gylfi Sigurdsson for me, and that's why I've taken him out of the squad. I think Gylfi needs a rest. I think he needs to be taken out of this squad, because I just don't think he's doing enough, and when he's getting the ball, he's not looking confident. He's not looking like he knows where to put it. He's not looking like he wants to drive forward. He looks absolutely void of confidence if I've ever seen it, and that's, you know, that's a massive issue for me. And if that just means Gylfi needs to come out for a couple of weeks, then so be it. He needs to be taken out the team. There's players that can play in that position, maybe not as good as him, but there's players that can play in that position and do that role. So for me, I would take Gylfi Sigurdsson out. Like I said, we'll talk about my predicted starting 11 in just a minute, but yeah, I feel like fans have different opinions on different players that maybe just don't do enough. I don't think Gylfi Sigurdsson, in my opinion, has done enough in the last couple of weeks, if I'm being totally honest with you. I think the second half against Bournemouth, he was unbelievable, but I think the first half against Bournemouth, it was borderline embarrassing. I think against Southampton, he was poor. Yes, other than the goal and the shot on target, which clouded a really, really poor performance for me. And I think, you know, in weeks before that, again, Leicester at home didn't do much at all. So for me, I think I'd take Gylfi out. Maybe not as a, you're not good enough, you know, you're not playing well, blah, blah. Maybe just, listen, we're going to give you the rest. We're going to give you a little bit of time off the field, on the bench, to just sit there and watch the boys and have a little bit of a rest, because at the minute, you're not playing like you were at the start of the season, and you're not playing to your full potential, which is really sad to see, because we all know how good of a footballer Gylfi Sigurdsson can be. So I'll go through my predicted starting 11 here, as you can see on the pitch, just up there. I've gone for Jordan Pickford in goal. I've gone for Seamus Coleman at right back, taking the armband, controversial one, but basically I've gone for the strongest 11 that I could pick. I've gone for Kurt Zouma and Michael Keane in the centre of defence. We'll talk about them two in just a minute, with Luca Dean at left back. I've gone for Andre Gomez and Idrissa Gana Gueye in the centre of midfield. Ademola Lookman on the right, Richarlison on the left, they will mention. Bernard through the middle in the number 10, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin up front. Now, like I said, this is a team for me that I've got no doubt is good enough to beat Millwall. Away from home, at home, on the park, I don't care. It's a team good enough to beat Millwall. Now, I will start, obviously, with the defence, because I feel like there might be a few questions about the defence. I've gone for Seamus Coleman at right back, just because I think, you know, this is going to be a tough game defensively, and these are the team that are going to bring a lot of grit, and I don't want John Joe Kenny to come in and end up making a mistake, and therefore getting, you know, fans jumping on his back and then losing his confidence as well. I personally would go with Seamus Coleman at right back, and for me, I think at the minute, although John Joe is, you know, getting better and Seamus Coleman is declining, I think that's fair to say. I think Seamus Coleman probably is our best option at right back. I've gone for Kurt Zouma and Michael Keane in the centre of defence. Now, this is definitely an interesting one. Now, look, I really, really like Yerry Mina. I think he offers us a lot, and I think he's a very, very good defender. But what I want to see an end of, and what I'm probably most critical of Marco Silva of, is chopping and changing the centre-halves. I think he just needs to keep 2 centre-halves, and that be it now. And let them make mistakes, let them, you know, make errors, let them get through that and get past that. But he just needs to keep with 2 centre-halves, because at the minute, chopping and changing every 2 weeks, you know, bringing a centre-back pairing in, they play well one week, and then one makes the mistake, and then one makes a mistake the week after, and then the week after that he's taken out and he's chopping and changing. It's not helping anyone. It's not helping Dean at left back. It's not helping Coleman at right back, and it's not helping Pickford in goal, and it's not helping the centre-halves themselves by keeping chopping and changing and moving them about. For me, we just need to keep 2 centre-halves and that be it, and the other one as a backup if ever needed through injury or, you know, fitness issues or anything like that. I'd personally go with Keane and Zouma, just because I think Keane and Zouma have been that for the last couple of weeks. Yes, they weren't fantastic against Southampton, there's no hiding that, but for me, I think they're probably our 2 most solid centre-backs. I think Yerry Mina looks like he's got a mistake in him, don't get me wrong. young, I love him, but I think at the minute we just need to keep with a solid, consistent back line. I think consistency's a really good word to use about our team at the minute and the squad and the way Marco Silva lines up, as there doesn't seem to be much consistency. There's changes week in, week out. He's constantly bringing players in, taking players out, bringing them back in, and I think for me that isn't helping anyone. Whether that's to blame for our form, I'm not going to sit here and say it is, because you know it may be, it mightn't be. I think it would be a pretty easy excuse to say, oh, it's the consistency issues that, you know, we're to blame for the form, but I think it's definitely not helping anyone. I think that's for sure, you know, chopping and changing, and the players going into Finch Farm every week not knowing who they're going to be playing next to on the weekend, it's not helping anyone. So for me, I'd go with the same back line. I know there's been a couple of shouts for Leighton Baines to come in. Again, I wouldn't be totally opposed to that. I love Leighton Baines. I think he's an absolutely wonderful footballer. He's an Everton legend, and you know, I think he's more than good enough to play against a team like Millwall. However, like I said, I'd just keep with the same back four and you know, keep that as it is. Very similar in the centre midfield as well. You know, I've been very critical of Adesagana game in recent weeks. I've said that he hasn't looked good enough. Again, against Southampton, he didn't look like he could pass a ball. In prior weeks before that as well, he's looked poor. Andre Gomez as well in the last couple of games. I'm not just going to bait out Adesagana here. Andre Gomez in the last couple of games hasn't looked himself, hasn't looked as good as he did, you know, when he first broke into the team in October, November. But I think, again, the consistency, for me, we just need to keep the same midfield. I think, you know, if you've got a player bursting through the ranks or on the bench who's badly deserving of a start in the centre midfield, you could go, okay, probably maybe give him a go. But for me, I don't think Tom Davies is ready yet. I don't think he's good enough. I think Morgan Schneiderlin isn't good enough. I think that's very clear. And I don't know what's going on with James McCarthy. I love James McCarthy and I would love to see him have some game time for Everton, but I think he's a player that needs to be brought in when we're on a winning run and when we're doing well, and not a player to be brought in, you know, when things are really at the lowest, and that expectation to be on him to be that midfielder that we've been looking for. I think it'll be good to bring James in when we're, you know, on a decent run of form, we're winning games of football, hopefully we're going further on in the FA Cup, we've started to get our league form back, and then you can introduce James McCarthy. He's had such an absolutely awful, you know, horrific injury that I think it would be unfair to throw him back in at the deep end and say, right, let's see what you've got, and if you don't perform in this game, you're not going to play again. So as you can see by my front four, I've gone with Ademola Lookman on the right, Richarlison on the left, who we'll talk about. I know Ed isn't very happy with that one, but we'll talk about that. Bernard through the middle and Calvert-Lewin up front. Now let's just get the easy one out the way. Ademola Lookman for me, again, probably our brightest spark in the Southampton game. Yes, he didn't do an awful lot, but he was probably the player that looked the most urgent going forward. He was the player that seemed to be giving it the most as well, wanted it more than any other player. So for me, that's pretty self-explanatory. Like we mentioned there, Theo Walcott isn't in the best of form. This is a championship level team. Ademola Lookman theoretically should run rings around them, but you know, it's a massive opportunity again, and that means that in his run of games, Ademola Lookman will have played, you know, 2 FA Cup games so far. Lincoln, who were a team, you know, in League 2, we all know he scored in that game, and then obviously Millwall again, a team near the bottom of the championship. So his run of games won't just be Premier League games, it will be games against opposition that are of a lower league, so we can sort of see where his skill set is at the minute. So then the other three I've gone for, Richarlison on the left, Bernard in the 10 and Calvert-Lewin up front. Now we'll talk about Bernard first. Bernard in the number 10. Like I mentioned before, Gylfi Sigurdsson I think just needs a rest at the minute. I don't think he's playing good enough. I don't think he's doing his job properly, and I think he probably is just a little bit void of confidence. He's not looking himself. He's not looking like the Gylfi Sigurdsson that, you know, we seen again in October, November times against Leicester away when he bossed the game and then scored a worldie. You know, in the games where he was showing his urgency. I think what Gylfi Sigurdsson's missing the most at the minute is that urgency, is that high pressing that, you know, we all know he can do. He's proved that, and I think that was one of the reasons why I still say now, even to this day, that, you know, the first 3-4 months of the season was probably the best 3 or 4 months I've seen Gylfi Sigurdsson having an Everton shirt, because he was constantly on the defenders, he was constantly running at people, he was constantly pressing people and, you know, chasing them down and making sure that they never had more than 10 seconds on the ball. And then when he was getting the ball, he was good enough to decipher it, he was good enough to spray it left and right or take the shot if needed to. And I think that Gylfi Sigurdsson is a player that we look at and go, wow, you are unbelievable. I think when you say to Gylfi, just sit back a bit and just play that nice, easy, lackadaisical role, I don't think he does it well at all, because he fades out the game all of a sudden he's not in the game, and then when he gets the ball he panics and he worries and he doesn't know what to do with it, and in turn he ends up losing it or making a silly mistake. So for me, I'd take Gylfi Sigurdsson out of the squad for the minute. I'd give him a couple of games just to have a rest, just to recoup himself, and you know, maybe it's a stamina issue, I don't know, maybe it's a confidence issue, but he's definitely not looking the player that, you know, he was at the start of the season in the last couple of weeks. Certainly against Southampton he may as well not have been on the pitch. I know he scored in the last minute, and know people are going to say, oh, he scored and had a shot on target, and we only had 3 shots on target, so that's 2 out of 3. Listen, that papered over the cracks, that goal for me. I think, you know, the header, yes, it was a good header, but he probably should have done better. But the goal at the end papered over the cracks of what was 94 minutes of Gylfi Sigurdsson. You wouldn't even notice he was in the game for the rest of the game, other than that one-headed chance and that goal. And I think for me, that isn't good enough for a player that, you know, we look to be our creative genius, and we look to be that player that we look at and go, okay, Gylfi, do something here. You know, win us this game of football. I don't think he's been good enough for doing that in the last couple of weeks, and that for me is why he's coming out. I've gone for Bernard in place of him. I know a lot of Evertonians are wanting to see Bernard in the number 10 role, myself as well. You know, I think it's very, very important that Bernard gets the opportunity at some point to play in that number 10 role, because I think he could do a job fantastically there. I think, you know, he will be really, really beneficial. It also obviously frees up the space for Richarlison to go back on the left. We'll talk about that in just a second. But yeah, like I said, Bernard for me, I think it's almost certain that we will at one point see Bernard in the number 10 role, whether it's against Millwall tomorrow, whether it's in the Premier League in a couple of weeks' time, I don't know, but I think it's almost certain that we will see him, because a lot of Evertonians are calling for it, and Marco Silva, and we all know that he can play that role because he's quick, he's creative, and you know, he makes space for himself, and he can take it round players. And I think, you know, it's like I said, it's only a matter of time before we see him adopt that role, whether it's permanently or whether it's just for the odd game, I don't know. But for me, I will personally put him in there tomorrow against a team that, you know, we're going to come, like I said, with a lot of heart, with a lot of fight. If he's put on the wing, he probably will just be marked out the game because of his size, and because of the fact that this, you know, this Millwall team are going to come with a lot of passion and a lot of aggression. And you know, the last thing you want is Bernard to just go missing in a game of football like this. You want him to be the centre of everything. You want him to be the creative genius that sits in that midfield and creates everything for whoever's on the left, whoever's on the right, and whoever's through the middle. And that for me is why I will play him there tomorrow. So Richarlison on the left. Starr says Richarlison is our top scorer, bro. I think that's in response to Ed's comment. He is our top scorer, and for me, I will be putting him back on the left. Now, I just want a disclaimer here. I'm not saying he can't play the centre-forward role. I'm not saying that, you know, he hasn't been good enough in the last month or so. You know, listen, he's our top goal scorer. He is. Maybe he hasn't been in the best run of form in the last month or so, but he's our top goal scorer, and one thing's for certain is he's been scoring goals this season for Everton Football Club, and he's done it more than anybody else. So we have to take, you know, the criticism for Richarlison with a little bit of pinch of salt. For me, I think he is just more beneficial on the left. I think when he's up front, I don't think he's got the ability to hold the ball up as well as he needs to do in Premier League games to be a striker. And I don't think he spends enough of his time in and around that 6-yard box being a poacher. I think he spends a lot of his time wanting the ball and wanting to take players on. And, you know, in doing that, he finds himself with the ball in the centre of the park, aiming towards the goal, and he will drift left or he will drift right naturally. I think for me, when he's on the wing, he knows that whenever he gets that ball, he needs to either cut inside or put a cross in the box, and then there will be someone there to put, you know, to get on the end of that ball. I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin, for me, is that striker at the minute. He's that striker that will sit in between the two centre-halves, will sit in the box, and will be there to, you know, win balls in the air. We all know how good Dominic Calvert-Lewin is at winning headers. We know how good he is at putting the ball in the back of his head with his noggin. Richarlison on the other end isn't, because he's not in them areas, because he's always getting dragged towards the ball and he's coming out. And, you know, there's so many times this season, especially in the last couple of weeks, we've seen Luca Dean have the ball on the left, or Bernard have it on the right, or, you know, vice versa. And you know, going to put the ball in the back in the box and trying to look for a cross, and Richarlison hasn't been near them. He's been on the wing, or he's been outside the box, and he hasn't been in the position that he should be. Whereas I think if he's on the left, he gives you that option to cut inside and take the shot himself, or to put the ball in the box. And I think, you know, at the minute, our best number 9, if you say, for me, is Dominic Calvert-Lewin. And I think, again, this is another game for Dom where it's going to be a team that, you know, are in the Championship, you know, struggling in the Championship, let's be honest, and a game where realistically City, he should be turning it on and he should be scoring goals. So I think for me, that's why I put Richarlison over on the left and Dominic Calvert-Lewin in the centre of midfield. Let me know what you think about my predicted starting 11. If you're in the live chat, let me know in the live comments. If you're watching this as a video afterwards, please do let me know in the YouTube comments as well. I'll be, reading through all the comments and having a look at them tonight as well. Please do leave the video a like if you have enjoyed it so far. Please subscribe if you are new as well. 264 subs I think we're on at the minute. If we can hit 300 by March, I don't know, I'm just giving random dates, but if we can hit 300 as soon as possible, that would be absolutely fantastic. But thank you all so much for the support recently. The support has been absolutely unbelievable. I can't thank you guys enough, and it really does mean everything to me from the bottom of my heart. But yeah, like I said, please do leave the video a like if you have enjoyed so far. So what can we expect from Millwall? Like I said, for me, the minimum we will expect from Millwall is heart and fight. Let's be honest, I think they couldn't sit in 18th in the Championship. They're not on the best run of form at the minute. They're not the best footballing team. The players haven't got the most quality in the world. But like I mentioned at the start of this team, hard work beats talent when talent does not work hard. And we might have some fantastic footballers. We might have Richarlison, who's the next best Brazilian prospect. We might have Bernard, who's played Champions League football. We might have, Andre Gomez, who's looking fantastic. We might have Luca Dean, who's won everything everywhere he's been. But if these players don't work hard and don't show the grit and fight that we need to show tomorrow, then Dave Smith, I know there's not a player called Dave Smith for Millwall, I don't think anyway, but per example, a Millwall player that might never have had a cap for his country, might never have even been considered for his country, might have only played in the lower leagues of football, will perform better because the passion that they will show will outweigh the quality that we will have if we don't show that same passion. We need to match Millwall tomorrow, and by match them, I mean match them with fight and with grit, because let's be honest, and I don't mean to disrespect Millwall, I'm not going to sit here and disrespect Millwall, but they won't match us with quality. They won't match us with, the quality of player, and they won't match us with the class of player that we have. But what they will, they won't match us, that what they will bring is fight and passion, and we need to match them with that for our qualities to shine through, because if we don't, then they might just get a lucky deflected goal in the last 10 minutes and win the game, because we haven't bothered to show any passion or any urgency to get anything out the game. For me, we should be looking to, by 6 o'clock tomorrow, half an hour after kick-off, be about 3 or 4-0 up, because we've showed that passion, we've showed that grit, and we've gone out and we've gone, you know what, we're going to give as good as we can get here, and then our quality and our class is going to take us to that next level, and we're going to be able to create and convert the chances, but we're also going to be able to show the strength and the passion needed in the centre of midfield and the centre of defence to make sure that we're not just, shying away from situations. I think this will be a really, really interesting game of football, because I think for me, it's a game that, we're not going to be able to shy away from. We're not going to be able to hide. And, I think too many games in recent weeks, aka the Southampton game, aka the Leicester game, aka the Watford game, we've been allowed to just shy away and come away not looking as, bad. Yet we lost by 1 goal to Southampton away, they're in alright form at the minute. Yes, we drew against Watford, but when you actually look at them games and you think how poor we played, and you think, Jesus Christ, our players didn't even look one bit remotely arsed today. If we do that tomorrow against Millwall and we end up getting beat, we've been beaten by a Championship team who are struggling to stay in the league and may even get relegated to League One, and we're now out of a competition that really our season is riding on, and that would be totally unacceptable. So for me, just to summarise, we need to match them passion, we need to match them with fight, and if we, if they don't bring as much passion and fight as we are expecting, we need to bring more. At the minimum we should bring tomorrow is that urgency and that fight to win this game of football. And like I said, our quality will shine through, and if we're not on the best of form and the quality doesn't shine through, at least we can say, we've gone out and we've given it a real go. And like I said, just the pure fact that we are a Premier League opposition should take us through that. But if we don't show what we need to show in terms of heart, and we don't go out there and say, you know what, I'm going to fight for this badge, I'm going to fight for this shirt, then it could be an embarrassment. It really, really could be, and we don't want that to happen. Luke says, I think 4-4-2, Pickford, Kenny, Mina, Keane, Baines, Gylfi, Gomez, Bernard in the number 10, Lookman, Richarlison, Tosson and Calvert-Lewin. We need goals, and none of our strikers are good enough by themselves. I think it's a very, very good point. I think 4-4-2 is a formation that Marco Silva may look towards. I think, like what you've done with the team there, you've you've brought in Mina, brought in Kenny, brought in Baines, brought in Tosson, brought in Calvert-Lewin. There's many changes you've made there, and I think Marco Silva will either go one or two ways about this. He will either bring in a lot of changes and bring in a lot of players that you mightn't see every week, or he will keep with a strong side. And I think either way, doesn't matter who we play realistically tomorrow, the players that will play will be good enough to beat Cardiff. For me, I'd go balls to the wall and just play the best team possible and make sure that we guarantee that we get through and we beat Cardiff, because I think our season really does ride on a good FA Cup run at the minute. Currently sitting 11th in the Premier League, and at the minute, you know, with the form that we're on in the Premier League, that doesn't look like it's going to improve anytime soon. So we need this FA Cup run. We need to get into the 5th round of the FA Cup by beating Millwall tomorrow. Like I said, the team you've picked there is more than capable of doing that, and I think the team I picked as well is more than capable of doing it. But either way, we just need to win the game of football tomorrow. That is it. Nothing other than a win is acceptable. And you know what? If we go out there and we win 1-0 by our last minute scrappy goal, then so be it. But we need to win, and that's the be all and end all for me. So I suppose we'll talk a little bit about what else Marco Silva said in his pre-game press conference. Marco Silva was also talking about transfers. He spoke about the Adesina Gay move to PSG and basically said that we've had no formal offer from anybody for the Adesina Gay, and you know, any paper talk and stuff like that is literally just that at the minute. You know, we've had no formal offer, they've not spoken to the player, and you know, he seems happy where he is. Marco Silva also said that it's going to be a real struggle for Everton to sign anybody this season, this window, sorry. He said, listen, I think, you know, realistically looking at it, it's going to be tough for us to sign anybody. He said if we only loan players out, it's going to be really tough for us to sign anybody. But even if we sell players, you know, it opens that door, yes, but it's still going to be tough to bring players in. You know, a recent rumour has been, as a kid today, that says Cenk Tosun has turned down a move to Crystal Palace. Basically, it was a loan move. Everton have said that, you know, they were willing to loan him out. Cenk himself has come out and said no, he wants to fight for the spot in the Everton team, and he's not interested in leaving the football club. So let me know your thoughts on that one. Very, very interesting, that one, of course. Yannick Bolasie, who's obviously just come back from his loan at Aston Villa, has apparently been told that he doesn't have a place in the Everton squad for the foreseeable future. So he is going to be looking to go out again. Another rumoured loan deal for him. Crystal Palace rumoured to be in for him again. You know, a player that probably won't get much game time at Everton this season. Palace looking to try and snap up Tosun, looking to try and snap up Yannick Bolasie as well. If that can happen, if we can sell both of them players and get them off the wage bill, then so be it. If we can only loan them out, then for me, it's a little bit pointless, because we're loaning players out, we're not going to be able to bring players in, and you know, we're losing numbers in the squad, and for me, I just think that that's pointless. Why do that, in all honesty? So that is it for this game preview to Everton versus Millwall tomorrow. Let me know your thoughts in the live comments if you are here. Like I said, please do leave a like and subscribe if you are new to the channel. It really, really does mean a lot. Now, I just want to say one thing, a sad note to end the stream. You know, I wanted to bring this, I wanted to mention this because it is really, really sad. And, you know, I just want to say everybody at the Mighty Blues, myself, I think I speak for everybody in football, really, certainly everybody at Everton. We all, you know, are deeply saddened, and give all of our condolences to Cardiff City and FC Nantes, obviously after the disappearance of the Cardiff's new striker, Salah. You know, it's absolutely awful what's happened, and it really, really is devastating news. You know, he was literally just signed his dream deal, his dream move to the Premier League on a flight over to Cardiff, and you know, whatever happened. We don't quite know what's happened, so I'm not going to sit here and speculate. I'm not going to sit here and say, you know, he's did, you know, I know I just said the disappearance because that's what it's being stated at the minute, but I'm not going to sit here and say, you know, the player's passed away, or you know, he's on a life bar. I'm not going to say anything because nothing has come out of that yet, but I do send all of mine and everybody's condolences to Cardiff and FC Nantes, obviously after that tragic event. All thoughts go out to his family, of course, as well as the family of the pilot, because it's absolutely devastating news, and you know, you shouldn't wish that upon anybody, and the fact that it's happened, and it's happened so early into this year, it's just, you know, again, it's absolutely devastating, and you know, all of our thoughts and condolences are with Cardiff City and FC Nantes at this awful time that they'll be going through. And you know, it's tough, it really, really is tough, but all as we can hope at the minute as people, as football fans, is that, you know, Salah is fine, and you know, he manages to be found and makes a nice speedy recovery. Yes, although people are touting that it mightn't look like that at the minute, that's all we can hope at the minute, because nothing is being confirmed either way. Guernsey police have called off the search, which is devastating news in itself, but you know, like I said, that still doesn't mean that, you know, the worst has happened. Of course, the worst is being feared, but we can only pray and hope that, you know, there is somebody out there that is looking down on him, that's you know, granted him his wish and, you know, his life, basically, because, you know, it's an absolutely awful, you know, situation. It's an awful event, and like I said, condolences to Cardiff, FC Nantes, and everybody involved in that situation, and the family of the player and the pilot as well. But yeah, like I said, deeply saddening subject, deeply saddening situation. Sorry to end the stream on a sad note. I did just want to mention that, obviously, because it's important that we all pray for Salah, and we all, hope that, out there, he does manage to pull through this, and he does manage to survive. Like I said, that you've got to be positive in these situations, and you've got to think, positively. You can't sit and think, okay, it's all over. You really do have to think, hopefully, he is found, and he is found safely. I know Guernsey police have abandoned the search, but that doesn't mean anything. He could still be found tomorrow, and let's hope that is the case. But yeah, like I said, that is going to do it for this live stream. If you have enjoyed, please do leave a like. Sam said we need a good win today, but I assume that's tomorrow, and I feel bad for Tosin, still like him. And Luke says fair play, fair enough on Schenker's attitude is absolutely spot on, and he can get that shirt. I think confidence is all he needs. Yeah, I agree with both of them comments, of course. But anyway, that is going to do it for this live stream. I'll be back tomorrow for my instant match reaction to the game. Hopefully, it's a positive one. Hopefully, we're sitting here saying, get in, we've won a game of football, we're through to the 5th round, but who knows. But yeah, like I said, I'll be back tomorrow with my instant match reaction, and then on Monday for the live game review to this. Let's hope Marco Silva's Blues can go out and get a victory. Let's hope we can progress into the 5th round of the FA Cup, and let's hope we can actually show a bit of passion and a bit of grit and a bit of heart. And let's hope the lads go out and, make us proud and make us sit there and go, these lads want to play for Everton Football Club, because, that's the be-all and end-all for me tomorrow, and that's the minimum that we're going to have to show. But anyway, that is going to do it for me. Please leave a like if you have enjoyed the stream. Subscribe if you are new. I'll see you tomorrow for my instant match reaction. Hopefully the Blues have got the victory, and, we're progressing in a cup competition that we desperately need this season, at least to, to let us look back on the season as remotely positive, because at the minute, the Premier League position isn't good enough. But that is going to do it for me. Thank you all very much, and I'll see you soon on the Mighty Blues.